What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers. Join me here today to preview this amazing matchup between the top dogs, top team in the country, the Oregon Ducks, taking on Wisconsin with the Badgers. Jay, how you doing? Of course, my co-host, Jay McLovin. Jay, can the Badgers pull off the upset against the Ducks?
Man, Logan, that's a good question. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have them pulling off the upset. Doesn't mean they can't do it. I don't. I had this game. I'll give you my prediction. We'll get into it. I had this game actually 31-14 in favor of Oregon. Obviously, Oregon is undefeated. Wisconsin is 5-4. And Wisconsin is 3-3 in the Big Ten. It's going to be rough. Let's break down. Let's look at the leaders, and then we'll go from there. When you look at Oregon, their top quarterback in Gabriel, who is pretty much, in my opinion, the Heisman Trophy favorite, unless somebody else outdoes him. He's got 320 attempts at 237 completions at almost 2,900 yards, 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Clearly, he doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. And then you look at Locke for Wisconsin, who has 206 attempts at 117 completions. At 1,400 yards, 8-8. That means he turns the ball over just as much as he throws a touchdown. Now, I always say, when that's your problem, that's a huge problem. And I don't know if that's going to be able to be good enough, or even, I can almost see Oregon's defense just destroying Wisconsin's offense based off of those kind of numbers. But we'll talk a little bit more. We look at the running back, James, for Oregon, 166 carries at 946 yards, 10 touchdowns, 5.6 yards per carry. I believe, and I know for a fact, he was going to go well over that 1,000-yard mark on this Wisconsin game. And then you look at, on the flip side of it, and then you look at Walker, at 142 carries at 676 yards, 10 touchdowns as well, but only 4.7 yards. Still good number, but drastically a little bit less than what James is putting up, certainly in yardage. It's incredible. So I'm going to give a slight edge to Oregon on the run game just because of that 5.6 versus the 4.7. Certainly they both have scored 10 apiece, but I'm giving the slight edge to James. Clearly the domination on the passing game is going to go to Gabriel over Locke. And then that should trickle down to the wide receivers. And Johnson for Oregon at 64 catches at 649 and 8 touchdowns, to Anthony II's 24 catches, 443 and 2 touchdowns. So again, really offensively, this team is just stacked over Wisconsin, just stacked. The last win for Oregon was over Maryland at 39-18. And Wisconsin doesn't help itself out coming into this game because they're on a 2-game losing streak to Penn State at 28-13 and Iowa at 42-10. So clearly they're getting dominated by the much more talented teams. And that just kind of bodes another feather in the cap for Oregon, while they're going to go to 11-0. And they're going to break, because right now they're tied for the best start in program history at 10 wins. But if they get this 11th win, which in all aspects, they should get this 11th win. That would be the best. This will be the best season in Oregon history, the program's history. The last road game for Oregon. This is the last road game for Oregon. So obviously they want to do well on the road as they're coming back home and set that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling when they play back at home going forward. Oregon has scored over 35 points in the last 5 games. That's crazy. Wisconsin is coming off the bye week, and they've given up 70-23 in the last 2 games. State and Iowa, they've given up 70 points to the 23 that they have combined. I mean, if that doesn't make you feel depressed coming into this game, I don't know what will. And I just don't think they have enough to take on this Oregon team. Wisconsin has to deal with Gabriel's lethal passing game. And then they got the thunder and lightning of Jordan James and Noah Whittington. I just don't know that they're going to have enough in the arsenal to compete with this. Oregon, like I said, should get that 11th win tonight, or Saturday should get that 11th win, which will be the best start in their program's history. Like I had said previously, Oregon has won the last 3 encounters over Wisconsin. Like, it just doesn't get better for Wisconsin. Everything is just so bad. Like, against Wisconsin. Like, how do you even rally a team to get ready for Oregon? If I'm sitting in the Wisconsin locker, I'm thinking like, damn. All right, let's just go out there and get this game over with. And we'll really, Wisconsin is like one more win away from being bowl eligible.
Yeah, they're right there on the cusp.
I don't think it's going to be this game, you know. So, and then when he goes on, Oregon is averaging 457 yards a game. That's 11th nationally. Wisconsin is, like I said, one win away from bowl eligible. But I don't think being bowl eligible or trying to be bowl eligible is going to be enough of a motivating factor for Wisconsin to overtake this. Now, I'm not saying they can't do it, but this would be a huge, massive undertaking to pull off this upset. Let's just put it that way. Wisconsin is averaging about 25 points a game. Oregon has scored 21 or more points in 4 consecutive games. Ultimately, Oregon, and I'm going to wrap it up with this, Oregon has a balanced offense. The Ducks are easily a fast-paced attack on offense and easily a very, very aggressive team on defense. And this is just going to be way more than what Wisconsin is ready for. It's almost like the Bad News Bears going up against whatever team they lost against. And Walker Matthau and he's just smoking a cigarette. As the best team on the player is, like Kelly, whatever his name was. He's over there smoking cigarettes, and yet, it is what it is. And that's how I see Wisconsin versus Oregon. 31-14 in favor of Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Oregon. They've had 2 tough tasks this year on their schedule. One of them being early on, week 2 against Boise State. But, Jay, I think we all know who's on Boise State, who's a playmaker, who is the best running back in the country. That's Ashton Jeanty. Jay ran for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, come on. Look, so that was a tough task early on in the year. They were able to pull that one out 37-34 final score in that one. And then, of course, we know you can honestly say maybe instant classic they had with Ohio State, 32-31 won with a 20-yard field goal or so with about 2 minutes left in regulation. So that was a great game. But besides that, Jay, this Oregon team has been rolling. You mentioned they have just been beating up opponents left and right here in recent weeks. And, I mean, there's a reason that they are undefeated. They have not lost a game, and they might not. You mentioned Gabriel, who a lot of people have picked as the Heisman this year. We'll see if he can add to that resume against Wisconsin. Jordan James also having a really good year as well. Going to close in on 1,000 yards after this game, I assume. He's only 14 away, so I would hope he would get it. 10 touchdowns on the ground, though, for that young man. All in all, Jay, this team has 20. It's more balanced than people might think. They have 22 passing touchdowns and 21 rushing touchdowns. I mean, I'd take that any day of the week. Also, when you look at Oregon in terms of their passing yards, Gabriel averages 8.9 yards per attempt. So there are no short passes with this guy. It's either mid or he's going long. If you're averaging close to 9 yards a throw. So that is something to look out for if you're Wisconsin to try and combat. James averaging 5.7 yards per rush attempt. So he is doing some great work there as well, kind of setting the table for Dylan Gabriel. You mentioned they have a really good receiving core of Tez Johnson, Evan Stewart, and Holden, just the top 3 guys there. All in all, they have a combined 16 touchdowns between the 3 of those gentlemen, with Tez leading the way with 8. Look at the rest of this team, Jay. I mean, in terms of their defense, they have 25 sacks, which that's phenomenal, and also 9 interceptions. Also, 9 interceptions, okay, might be a little low. Jay, they have 48 passes defended, for God's sake. So they are just It's like, whenever you get a fly in your house and you're getting a fly swatter just trying to bat it down 20 different times. Yeah. That's what these defenders are like, Jay, but they're doing it with a football, just smacking it out of here. So they're doing great jobs in pass rush and also in the secondary as well. So Oregon is tremendous, right? They're a really good program. Let's flip the script, talk about Wisconsin, a team who, like I said, is kind of down in the dumps right now, trying to get back on the winning side of things. Just one win away from being bowl eligible. I don't think they'll get it this week, Jay, but they still have a few chances left. As you mentioned, they got Oregon this week, obviously, followed by Nebraska and Minnesota to round out your schedule. So you still got a little bit of time to become bowl eligible. You mentioned their head honcho, right? Their best player, Braden Locke on offense, their quarterback, 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns. 8 interceptions. But I will say, though, Jay, a positive, it's only been sacked 6 times. So the O-line for Wisconsin is going to have to play as good as they have all season, right? Just continue your style of play. Make sure your quarterback has time to get adjusted and to really get in the rhythm of this game. Also, an advantage, too, for Wisconsin is that this is going to be a home game. So at least you don't have to deal with as many Oregon fans, just yelling at you and whatnot. So at least you got your home crowd behind you. Student section going to be rocking, I'm sure. They have a solid, lineup as well. Running back, it's going to be Tyree Walker, 676 in terms of yardage, 10 touchdowns. So really saw their 4.8 average. It's going to be a team effort, Jay. It can't just be one guy. It's got to be the running game has to be on point. The passing game has to click. The special teams can't screw up. So it's going to be a team effort. When you look at this team, also 14 sacks on the year, only 3 interceptions. So their secondary not really active, especially when you compare it to Oregon. So it's going to be a tough task, but ultimately, though, Jay, I will go with the Oregon Ducks, getting the easy win of this one, remaining undefeated. I'll go final score. Give me the Ducks 45 and give me Wisconsin 14. I think it'll be a blowout. I think Oregon's got a great program right now, Jay. And unfortunately for the Wisconsin Badgers, it's like a steamroller, right? And it's like an Austin Powers whenever the steamroller's going at you and you're just screaming. You just know it's coming. You just can't get out of the way. That's kind of what Wisconsin might be going through this upcoming weekend. That's my thoughts. You guys want to check this game out, 7:30 Eastern, NBC. It's going to be a night game, so it's going to be fun to watch under the lights, and it's going to be a nice one. But, Jay, I appreciate you coming on. Of course, Jay McLovin from the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers, guys. And until next time, enjoy some football this weekend.